Happy Traditional Thursday, everybody. Today we're going to do a very fun but not often ordered drink called the Tuxedo No. 2. The number 2 is actually important here because the original Tuxedo was a classic drink that had a few twists and amendments made over the years. I think it's made it better. It's typically what you find on menus, but it's very good. It's very complex, which is not something you get in a lot of the classic martinis that have just one or two notes. This one, as you'll see as we build, has a whole lot of different flavors involved. So let's start like we like to do by getting our martini glass nice and cold. We're going to go ahead and just get a bunch of ice in here so that it can start to chill, and we'll set this over to the side while we're actually building our drink. Our first ingredient as we build the drink itself is going to be orange bitters. You can get these in all sorts of different types. This is an Angostura orange. We're going to do about 2 dashes worth here. Now you'll notice typically when we do our bitters, we incorporate some sort of a sweetness. This is maraschino liqueur that does have a sweetness to it, but this is not a syrup. Don't get the wrong idea. This is a strong spirit, still a liqueur, but very delicious. We're just going to use a dash. You don't really have to measure this out. Don't worry about your jigger just yet. Approximately 1/4 ounce if you really want to measure, but you'll see that's all we're looking for, just a little bit of something to go on the bottom of it. Now we get to where we are differing between a traditional and a number 2 Tuxedo. The original recipe calls for equal parts of dry vermouth. We want to use high quality. We've got our Dolan and London dry gin. I personally, like we've talked about with the martinis for my preference, have never really enjoyed that 1-to-1. I feel like the vermouth overpowers the gin. So in this case, we're going to go with just a 1/2 ounce of our dry gin, or I'm sorry, our dry vermouth. We have dry gin coming too. And then we're going to do 2 ounces of our London dry gin, which is why we're using Bombay Sapphire today. And that really is a different type of flavor. It's important to use the right gins with these drinks because the way they build them, each one has a different flavor profile that matches with all the other things that we're going to include. So that is the base of our drink. Now we do what we know we do. Let's put some ice in our mixing glass. Don't touch it if you're serving it to other people. I can't stress that enough. I just never listen to my own rules. And we're going to mix for a bit. This drink actually came about in around the 1900s. Well, at the beginning of the 1900s. It is considered a classic, one of the original cocktails in a lot of the old books. Really complex notes, like I was saying. You have orange, you have cherry, you have the gin, the dry vermouth, and of course you see sitting here absinthe, which we haven't added to the drink because we're going to do the trusty wash that we did for the Sazerac. And we've just gotten this to a nice dilution and a nice cold level on the beverage. So let's get rid of the ice in our glass. Like I said, we're going to do the wash again. And of course, Mr. Handy Dandy Squirt Bottle is going to come in. And I picked that phrase up because I grew up watching TV as a kid, and that was on Sesame Street. We're just going to spray around the inside of our glass, and that's going to add a note to the drink. That's the important part.